What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Cooking with Clams. I'm Will. I'm here on the south shore of Long Island, close to the South Fork, and we are meeting up with my friend Will, another Will, and he's going to take us out to his oyster farm, West Robins Oyster Company. Hopefully we get a little bit to cook with. There's talk of maybe a clam bake later at the beach, but look at this guy right here.
What's up?
Got the Key West waterman to come up, hang out in New York for a little bit. These guys are coming in now. They did the harvest earlier.
What up? How we doing?
What's up?
What's going on? What's going on?
So let's get into it. All right, I'm here with Will, who owns West Robin. Tell us a little bit about the farm.
Sure. So West Robins, we grow oysters in Great Peconic Bay. So right now we're standing in North Sea Harbor in Southampton. We'll head out to our plot. It takes about 15 minutes from here. Middle of the Peconic Bay, where we have a big fetch, a lot of wave action, and we do a surface culture method, so the oysters come out really polished and round and beautiful oyster.
And now it's only two of you.
Only two of us.
That's insane. So when they pulled up, what you saw earlier when they pulled up in the boat, it's him and his partner Jack.
Yep.
And that's it. That's
Yep.
insane.
Okay.
And you harvest throughout the winter.
We harvest throughout the winter. We have, we have a couple part-time people who come and help us out when we're in crunch time. But yeah, it's right now with two guys and 700,000 oysters, so we have our hands full.
All right, let's head out to the island.
All right.
Can't stop working.
I'm already back to work.
Yeah, so Peconic Bay is, I'd say it's one of the harder places to grow oysters on the East Coast because we have a ton of current that comes through really narrow choke points or races. And couple that with 4 or 5, 6 mile fetch, you get some pretty nasty conditions, fall, winter, spring, even a bad summer day.
So what made you choose here?
Well,
That's a good challenge.
naivety for one, and two, we actually own the piece of land that we farm on, so there's no moving it. So like most places you get a lease from the local government, but for us we bought it, so it's a deeded piece of property. We own the bottom land, and so there wasn't no moving that.
Wild.
So being out on the water like this, how do you stop people from just coming out and grabbing a...
That was my first thought. I was literally thinking the same thing. I was like, people come out here buffet style?
It's because you're a thief.
We always say, there's one blessing that we have of being in an extremely wealthy area with a lot of expensive boats, is that most of these folks, they can turn them on and they can drive them for the most part, but they don't know what they're looking at. They have no idea. Now you get some guys like from the North Shore or something that come out here, from Huntington Harbor, one of those parts. They might it might be a different story, but so far we haven't had to deal with it. Knock on wood.
So why are some flipped over?
So we flip them over to dry the biofouling off. So like all these various macroalgae that grow on the cages, as well as lesser desirable mollusks like barnacles and slipper shells and other things like that. They're all filter feeders, so they reduce the amount of food that comes to the oysters. So we dry the cages by flipping them over, and the UV exposure and the wind and the sun helps to kill those organisms. So when we put the cages back, they get a lot cleaner. So there's a saying in shellfish growing, more flow, more grow, more dough, which means we want to keep the cages as clean as possible.
Got it. All right, so one of the things that I want to point out is while they're drying, there are oysters in there, and they flip them over, and it actually mimics tidal conditions, which help the oyster in strengthening and staying closed. So when you take the oyster out, you don't want it to freely open and close, and it'll hold on to, it's almost like training it to stay shut really tight. So then when it gets to you in the restaurant and the shucker goes to shuck it, that same seawater will still be in there because it's been trained to really clamp down.
It's holding its breath.
It's holding its breath.
Like free dive training. But the opposite.
All right, so we're about to hoist up a cage. So when we go through, when it's time to sell the oysters, we'll go through a number of cages and pick out the ones that are ready for market. So it starts with this big winch and davit crane. And we lift the cage up. So we can pull the bags out. Each cage holds 6 bags, and each bag holds between 1,000 oysters and 200 oysters, depending on how big the oysters are and what phase of their life cycle. So here's some oysters that are just about ready for market. There's probably between 250 and 300 oysters in this bag. So we'll take the bag, open it up, and we'll put it on the table so we can sort which ones are ready and which ones need a little more time. How's that? Pile of oysters.
You're gonna have to pat down this guy's pockets when we
Yeah.
do.
We'd be looking for the oysters that are big and heavy, and we sort them by hand into 2 sizes. So we have like a petite oyster that's super popular on the raw bars in New York City, and maybe for oyster eaters that haven't eaten that many oysters in the past, like to start with something like this. And then for the little more adventurous and experienced oyster eaters, we also sort out a larger oyster that's maybe 3.5 or 4 inches. Part of the process is making sure that the oysters are all clean. So if we have oysters like this that have barnacles, we don't want to send those to market. So we'll take a shucking knife and we'll scrape all those off. I clean up the oyster, and then once we give it one last wash, it'll come out looking clean and almost ready for your plate.
I don't feel bad paying $4 an oyster. It makes sense now.
Shuck them, make sure they're looking good. This is a beauty.
Go for it.
Oh, I will not deny that. Oh my goodness.
I think that's the happiest I've ever seen.
My dreams are coming true. Wow.
That's the happiest I've ever seen you.
That is fantastic. Wow. You just made my day. Can you hold it? Can you try one?
Oh yeah.
Just nice and...
A little salty, a little sweet at the end.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. That's what dreams are made of.
Is that your first oyster straight from the farm?
There's not a lot of oyster farms in Key West.
Thank God.
Thank God.
Yeah, so we were just talking about how, whether or not we have to tumble the oyster to get it to grow a nice deep cup. And we really don't. And that's because this site has pluses and minuses. And we have about 7 miles to the west right behind us with no land in between. So when we get a west wind, we get like 3-foot waves through this farm. And so each one of these cages is going up and down and up and down. And the oysters are all bouncing around in the bags and rubbing against each other. So the shapes come out really uniform, nice polished oysters with deep cups.
That one's Aaron's.
I'll take it.
So a couple of things that I wanted to point out, and one of them being that, you know, we're looking at this and it's pristine and nice. Picture being out here and doing everything that Will is doing in the middle of February and with the wind and the cold and everything else. That's a different story. I don't think we'll be out to film that, but this is much more my speed. But another thing I want to point out is that you are looking at the facility.
Yeah, this is pretty much it. So we're on our 24-foot Carolina skiff. Best boat ever. Wish they still made them. But we do all of our sorting. We move all the equipment, everything off of this boat. So we have a shade structure that we put up, so we're nice and shaded when we sort oysters for market. But besides that, we're out here exposed to the weather and shipping usually around 10,000 oysters a week, split between 2 days. And we do everything out here and everything by hand. And at the scale where we are right now, growing about 400,000 to 500,000 oysters a year, it lets us really get a lot of eyes and hands on the oysters, so we're making sure that the product quality is always where we want it to be.
He's a heck of a shucker. I gotta get a photo of it.
That's it, fresh out of the water.
Oh my gosh.
All right, so despite our best efforts, there's still always a little bit of grime on the oysters. So right before we send them to market and after they've been sorted, we do something called the basket wash. Here's the basket wash. You know why we call it the basket wash? Probably do. But the basket wash is really good for taking off the fragile growth at the very end of the oyster, which means that the oyster doesn't chip when you ship it, so it doesn't leak, and then you get a higher yield in the restaurant.
There you go. How's your back?
Honestly, 6 out of 10.
Okay, hey,
Yeah.
not bad,
Yeah,
not bad.
6 out of 10.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, we're back at the dock. Will, thank you so much.
Thank you. Fun day.
But I'm gonna tag everything. Will's information, you can check out West Robins Oyster Company. Awesome oysters, and we're gonna do a really, I think we'll see. I have 2 recipes in mind, but I'll settle on one and we'll hook it up in the kitchen. But what a fun day. What a great day on the water. So these guys were absolutely nice enough. They're doing a clam bake on the beach up there. So we grabbed a couple of beers and we're gonna enjoy the party. I'll show you a little bit of the party and then I'll see you in the kitchen tomorrow morning and we'll cook off some oysters.
Right over there. Right where you guys want.
Charters or commercial or?
No, just fun.
Just fun?
I did all the commercial stuff and
Yeah, I'll still be on the water, that's for sure. Just doing different stuff.
This is what we got today, Will. 400 clams, we got mussels, then we got a couple bushes. We got some steamers.
Big
Yeah, you know how
steamers.
much
Let me
steamers
take
are a pound?
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is insane.
Well, we dug the clams a couple nights ago. Our friend Brian caught the tuna. And then
Don't mess
This
around
is
around
all mussels right here.
yeah, but the
my
mussels
God.
we used to be able to eat from here, but we can't eat from here, or we're not supposed to eat from here because of some bacteria. So
Gotcha. All right, so this is Jack. Jack and I actually used to work together.
yeah,
And Jack is an incredible chef, and he's you're heading off this whole thing, yeah?
we are. Yeah, Tumbleweed Tuesday party.
Tumbleweed Tuesday party.
Yeah.
Tumbleweed Tuesday is when all the renters and everyone from the city and wherever else are done in the Hamptons and they leave. So you get it's like down in Key West when all the snowbirds go back and we get our island back to ourselves. Same thing here.
Yeah, so a day worth celebrating.
I mean, you'd be angry too, bro. Not for nothing.
Yeah.
I know what's happening. Why are you putting me in a operation set up like our raw bars? I wanted to see just what we need to start doing.
This thing is insane. Yo, this one.
that shirt.
I had to go home, I told you. I had to dig it up.
So not only is the owner, farmer, he's the shucker and the party planner, thrower.
All the hats.
All the
Wear
hats.
all the hats.
All right, I'm gonna put the camera down, but as you guys see, we're getting going here. And we will see you in my kitchen tomorrow morning. Go.
You in? Come on.
What kind of tuna?
This, I believe, bluefin.
Bluefin. Thank you.
Yeah.
I think it's, yeah, you're up. You scored last. Okay, 18.
Woo!
Second year.
Start a business. LIFO, yeah.
Just be careful of your feet, it might overflow. We hit that pretty close. Let's go.
Otherwise, I'll go.
We're gonna kind of have to mix it.
Watch the sausages, they roll, Jack.
That's okay.
Put napkins out.
Beautiful.
That's the way to do it.
This is a potato heavy one, guys. Potato. Maybe some potato.
We don't even have to. Full from. Not as cool. I grew up on the creek.
Oh, really? I grew up.
Titusville, so it's over. About 3.5 hours.
Good morning. That was a pretty fun night, fun day. Huge thank you to Will, and even though he wasn't in the video, his partner Jack at West Robins Oysters, for taking Aaron and I out. I mean, awesome day, awesome night. I actually have to get Aaron back to the airport so he could get back down to Key West, but we're gonna make breakfast. We're gonna make breakfast tacos. So I'm gonna fry up some oysters, scramble some eggs, and make some tacos. I'm gonna make a really simple pico de gallo. So I have some local Long Island tomatoes, cilantro, lime, red onion, jalapeno, and then for my fry, let's see, that's a little washed out. I just have in there a little bit of cornmeal, flour, and cornstarch to make them super crunchy. And then we're gonna shuck some raw oysters as well and top them with the juice from the pico de gallo. So let's get started chopping everything up. We are on the wire. We gotta make it, eat it, and get to the airport. A little bit of garlic salt. And that was just crushed black pepper. So I did this first, and I'm gonna put it aside because I want that lime juice and salt to draw the liquid out of the onion, jalapeno, and tomato, so that we have that liquid to dress our raw oysters. But it's already coming out there. But that's what I'm after. So in about 10 minutes, that's gonna be probably double the amount. You're just in time. Hang on, that light's washing you out there.
What we got going on?
We're making breakfast tacos, but guess what you're doing?
Eating them, I hope. Oh.
What?
We good. Let's see.
Oh, yeah.
It's been a while since I've done this. Oh.
What happened?
Got the majority of it.
Oh, no, that's good. That's better than half the shuckers in restaurants around the country. Are you kidding? So we are just going to shuck about 10 for them and put them in like liquid and all. And I'll have those set aside, so then when I'm ready, I'll throw them in my batter, throw them in the fryer. And then we'll shuck the other ones that we're eating raw like moments before we're going to eat them. So now, what else we got to do? Get the tortillas ready. All right, just to be fair, I hit Aaron the minute he came out of bed and put an oyster knife and a couple of oysters in his hands.
I'm still acclimating.
So, but it's doing a good job there. Let's see this one.
Considering how many beers I drank yesterday. I don't have the flip yet. Uh-oh, that was going to be a little crunchy.
That's okay. Again, better than most of the restaurants around here. That's it. Look who showed up.
Look at that one's perfection.
There you
See
go.
if I can mess it up on the release.
Making Will at West Robins proud with that one. That is a beauty. So I have just a little bit of vegetable oil to get the tortillas heated up. I'm just going to heat them up and then put them in aluminum foil closed to keep them warm until we're ready to plate. So inside my flour, cornmeal, cornstarch, I put a bunch of cracked black pepper and a little bit of salt just to season that up so it's not too bland. And all we're gonna do these are gonna fry very quickly, as you can imagine. And I have this on 375, and then I have a rack here that I'm going to put paper towel on, and that's going to be what we take our oysters out onto. So let's give one a test. Oh yeah. Now, one thing to keep in mind, just to be safe, you have to realize that oysters are basically full of water and they can pop, which I have had happen to me. So when you drop them in, take a step back. Don't know if you can hear that. And then for my eggs, good amount of butter. I don't like using oil. If you use butter, you don't need a non-stick pan. But I do this on pretty low heat. Now, eggs are one of those things, you pull them off right before where you want them because they're going to keep cooking when you take them off and they're going to tighten up. Alright, these are ready to come off. Let's plate up. And now we have a couple shucked raw just because we have to eat them raw.
I was hoping you were going to do that.
And then this is just the liquid from the pico de gallo. Each one, so it's almost like a mignonette, but better. Alright, raw oysters, some fried oyster and egg tacos.
Breakfast of champions.
And you know Mama Clams.
I'm going in.
Let's dig in.
Looks amazing. I'm not scared.
Go. Well, you take whichever one you want.
I already
Ma,
got- I
take.
already got my
Hang
hands
on,
all
I'll take
over it.
this one
What?
because those were the first oysters to come out, so they're probably not the crispiest.
Okay.
That'll be.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
you've put so much food on these small tacos. I think we need large spoons. All right.
And I'm going in on a raw one off the bat. All right,
Oh,
so
yeah.
this is with yeah.
Mm.
I'm gonna eat the ugly one.
Mm. Wait until you taste that with the pico de gallo juice, because it's
Oh.
subtle.
Yeah. Well, not so subtle.
Oh no, that's not subtle. The tacos. I'm talking about the raw oysters.
Yeah, but it's good. But,
It works,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. No, it's nice. Wow.
oh, I'm
That is good.
gonna,
See, this may freak some people out because we're eating oysters for breakfast. I've always been a firm believer that food is just food.
Yeah.
Like some
no.
people have classifications for what's breakfast, but
All right. How was your fried oyster, Ma?
it's tender. The covering it's
Breading.
crispy. The breading. Thank you. Very light and crispy.
All right.
Yeah, delicious. But I definitely need a spoon for what's falling out of the taco.
We'll just we'll put another tortilla under it, and then you have a second taco with everything that falls in.
perfect.
Good thinking.
All right, I'm gonna eat because we got to get this guy to the airport.
Wah, wah, wah.
So I'm gonna relax. We got enough time that we can sit, relax, eat, jump in the car, and send him off. It was a great day again with Will from West Robin. Thank you so much.
Unbelievable trip. Cannot thank him enough.
Yeah, and even my mom thanks you for these oysters too. Wait, you didn't? Did you try raw? So that has just a little dressing on it, not much.
Ah, definitely.
So thank you, Will, for making my mother say heavenly. Awesome. All right. We will see you on the next one. And actually, the next one, we're still with Will from West Robin, and we did a little bit of porgy fishing, this guy's favorite. And we'll get a recipe going for that, too. See you on the next one.